Introduction: The Invisible Game of Wealth. Most people are not poor because they lack intelligence. They are not broke because they are lazy. They are stuck because they were never taught the rules. Behind every fortune is a formula, and behind every collapse is a broken principle. If you have ever felt like money is elusive, like it comes in but vanishes without explanation, or like others always seem to know something you do not, this book is for you. Wealth is not an accident. It is not just about luck, inheritance, or being born in the right place at the right time. Wealth is built on laws, real, practical, unchanging laws. Just like gravity pulls you downward, whether you believe in it or not, these laws of money govern your financial life, whether you are aware of them or not. The difference is that gravity is taught in schools. The laws of money are not. That is the silent tragedy. In most households, conversations about money are laced with anxiety, not strategy. Budgets are reactive instead of visionary. Money is earned and spent, but rarely understood. The cycle repeats itself, month after month, year after year, until a crisis forces a reckoning. It might be the sudden loss of a job, the arrival of an unexpected bill, or the aching realization that retirement is looming and there is nothing in place. For others, it might simply be the quiet humiliation of watching others move forward while you stay in the same place. What if it did not have to be this way? What if there were a way to completely rewire how you think, handle, and multiply money? What if the financial systems that seem designed to keep you out could actually be mastered, one law at a time? That is what this book offers, a complete reframing of your financial journey, grounded in timeless, proven principles that the wealthy live by, often without ever saying them aloud. These laws are not abstract theories. They are real-world frameworks, practiced by self-made millionaires, successful entrepreneurs, disciplined investors, and quiet builders of generational wealth. These are not gimmicks. There are no shortcuts here. There are only patterns, and once you see the pattern, you can never unsee it again. Take a moment to consider how your current financial beliefs were formed. Who taught you what money is, what it is for, and how to use it? Was it a parent who struggled silently, a teacher who avoided the topic, or a culture that glorified spending over saving? Most of us were not taught how money works. We were taught how to chase it, worry about it, and hope for it. The rich, on the other hand, were taught how to make it work for them. One of the most damaging myths ever told is that money is evil, or that desiring wealth is selfish. In reality, money is neutral. It reflects the values of the one who holds it. In the hands of someone with purpose, it becomes a force for good. In the hands of someone reckless, it becomes a trap. But the money itself does not have character. The person does. Another dangerous belief is that money is only for the select few, that it requires a high-paying job, an elite education, or a Silicon Valley breakthrough. But look closely at the backgrounds of those who have built true wealth. You will find former janitors who became real estate magnates, high school dropouts who created empires, and immigrants who arrived with nothing but a vision and a work ethic. What they shared was not privilege. What they shared was alignment with principles that produced results over time. This book is not a list of motivational quotes. It is not a collection of vague advice or recycled financial cliches. Every law you are about to learn is designed to work in the real world, with real bills, real deadlines, and real stress. These laws are not just for the already wealthy. In fact, the less you have, the more powerful these principles become. Because when applied with consistency, they can turn any financial situation around. You do not need to be perfect. You do not need to master all 30 laws by next week. What you need is to start, to make one shift, adopt one principle, practice it until it becomes instinctive, then move to the next. Money is not mastered through overnight changes. It is transformed through steady, intentional alignment with the truths that govern it. You will notice that this book avoids complex financial jargon. That is intentional. Simplicity is power. The people who make wealth feel complicated are often selling confusion, but clarity is what you deserve. Each chapter is written to speak plainly, directly, and powerfully, because money should not be a mystery. It should be a tool. Throughout this journey, you will be challenged to think differently. Some chapters will confront assumptions you have carried for years. Others will inspire you to take bold action. All of them are rooted in one mission: to equip you with a mindset that builds, not breaks, a strategy that compounds, not collapses. It is important to understand that these laws are not isolated from one another. They form a complete system. Like gears in a machine, they interlock. One law builds upon the next. If you ignore a key principle, the system weakens. If you follow them consistently, your wealth foundation becomes unshakable. This book is structured for real change. Every law stands on its own, yet they all work together. There are no filler chapters, no fluff, no recycled stories. Every section is packed with insight, real examples, and actionable clarity. Each law is a key. When you collect all 30, you are no longer guessing. You are no longer hoping. You are playing the game with the map in hand. There is one more truth that must be set up front. Mastering the laws of money will not just change your bank account. It will change your confidence. It will shift how you see opportunity, how you show up in your relationships, and how you plan your future. Financial mastery is not just about freedom. It is about power. Not the kind of power that dominates others, but the kind that gives you control over your time, your choices, and your legacy. We live in a world that profits from your confusion. Companies spend billions making you feel insecure, inadequate, and impulsive because confused people buy more. But clarity ends the cycle. When you understand money, you stop being manipulated by it. You stop fearing it. You start using it with intention. The poor are not the enemy of the rich, and the rich are not the enemy of the poor. The real enemy is ignorance of the laws, of the mindset, and of the system. And now you will no longer be ignorant. You will no longer operate in the dark. You will know. Each chapter will close with a references section so you can explore the data, ideas, and stories further. You are not being asked to believe blindly. You are being invited to examine, test, and apply. Because transformation does not come through reading alone. It comes through doing, through choosing, through aligning your daily choices with principles that compound. You hold in your hands not just a book, but a blueprint, a code, a shift. Some people will read this and move on. Others will read this and never be the same. Which one will you be? The game of money is being played all around you. The question is, are you playing it or is it playing you? Turn the page, learn the laws, master the rules the rich never break. Chapter 1. The Law of Value. First, money does not chase people, it chases value. That is the first law of money, and it is the one too many overlook. If you want to increase your income, your savings, your investments, and your overall wealth, you must begin with value. Not status, not education, not effort, value. There are people who work 14-hour days and still struggle to pay rent. There are others who work 4 hours a week and earn millions. The gap is not only in time, it is in value. People are not paid by the hour. They are paid by the value they bring to that hour. A janitor who sweeps a hallway earns differently from a systems architect who designs the infrastructure of a global company. It is not about effort. It is about impact. The market pays for solutions, not sweat. The world is full of hardworking people who never become wealthy. They pour their time, energy, and soul into their jobs, yet the needle barely moves. Their frustration is real, but the solution is not to work harder. It is to work smarter by increasing the value they bring to the table. Until you understand what makes you valuable in the eyes of the market, money will remain unpredictable and unstable. To understand this law, look at how money flows in the world. People do not get paid because they exist. They get paid because they solve a problem someone is willing to spend money on. A barber gets paid to solve the problem of grooming. A software engineer gets paid to solve the problem of automation. An investor gets paid to solve the problem of capital growth. Every dollar is an exchange for perceived value. The mistake many make is thinking their value is fixed. It is not. Value can be developed, sharpened, and expanded. You can learn new skills. You can deepen your expertise. You can position your value in places where it is more appreciated. The person who earns $30,000 per year in one city might earn $130,000 for the same skill in another. The work did not change. The environment did. Value is not just what you bring, it is also where and how you bring it. A study published by the Brookings Institution showed that job automation does not destroy all jobs. It destroys jobs that offer low value and can be easily replaced. The people who continued to thrive were those who had specialized high impact skills. They did not work more hours, they brought more value per hour. The modern economy rewards those who solve bigger problems or serve more people. That is how entrepreneurs scale. That is how consultants charge 5 figures for a session. That is how content creators turn attention into assets. Value is also rooted in perception. People pay more for what they believe will change their lives. That is why someone will spend $2 on a generic notebook, but $200 on a planner that promises to help them achieve their goals. It is the same paper, but one is positioned as a tool and the other as a commodity. Understanding this changes everything. You begin to see that your value can be multiplied not just by improving the product, but by improving the story, the result, and the experience around it. In a Harvard Business Review report, companies that focused on delivering value through customer experience outperformed those that competed on price alone. The same principle applies to individuals. If your only advantage is price, you are a commodity. If your advantage is value, you are a necessity. The key is not to beg for money. It is to become impossible to ignore. This law requires self-awareness. You must know what you are good at, what people need, and where the two intersect. Too many chase trends instead of aligning with their core strengths. Value creation is not about faking expertise. It is about developing real capability in areas that matter. When you become a person who solves high-impact problems, money finds you. You do not need to shout. You need to show. Real value is not always glamorous. Many people became wealthy not by doing flashy work, but by doing essential work consistently well. Waste management, logistics, supply chain optimization, these are not social media darlings, but they are profit machines. The person who understands their zone of value does not need applause. They need alignment. When people feel stuck financially, they often look for shortcuts. They want hacks, secrets, and side hustles that promise fast money. But no amount of hustle can compensate for a lack of value. If you skip this law, every other financial tactic will collapse. Budgeting, investing, saving, they all depend on your ability to bring in money first. And that depends on the value you create. There are also those who bring value but do not communicate it. They downplay their worth. They undercharge. They work in silence, hoping someone will notice. But value must be communicated clearly. The marketplace rewards clarity. If people do not understand what you offer, they will not pay for it. You must become your own advocate, not by bragging, but by articulating outcomes. There is a story of a man who repaired a ship that would not start. After several engineers failed, he came, inspected the engine for 5 minutes, tapped one pipe with a hammer, and the ship roared to life. He sent an invoice for $10,000. The owner protested. How could such a simple act cost so much? The man replied, "One for the tap, $9,999 for knowing where to tap." That is value, not the act, but the insight. Not the hours, but the result. You must shift from thinking like a laborer to thinking like a problem solver. A laborer waits for instructions. A problem solver anticipates needs. The world is full of tasks that need doing, but it is starving for solutions. The people who rise financially are those who see the problem before it becomes visible and offer a solution before it becomes urgent. Do not confuse busyness with value. You can be busy all day and accomplish nothing that moves your finances forward. Ask yourself regularly, is this task producing value or just filling time? Are you solving problems or simply reacting to them? The more value you bring, the more leverage you gain. Leverage leads to income. Income leads to investment. Investment leads to wealth. You must also learn to increase the value of your thinking. Wealthy people do not just have better habits, they have better frameworks. They ask better questions. They think in terms of systems, scale, and sustainability. They see patterns others miss. That level of thinking is not genetic. It is trained. And it begins by understanding that money flows toward value, not activity. This law is not about turning yourself into a product. It is about turning your skills, ideas, and contributions into results people are willing to pay for. It is about identifying your advantage and refining it. It is about replacing desperation with intention. Because when you become someone who produces real, visible, undeniable value, money becomes a byproduct. not a pursuit. There will always be noise around you. People saying the economy is too hard, the system is unfair, or that only certain people get ahead. But people are winning in every economy because value always finds a way to rise. It cuts through recession, inflation, and disruption. The question is not what the economy is doing. The question is, what value are you offering to it? Your starting point does not define your ceiling. Whether you are starting at zero or trying to level up, the path forward is the same. Increase your value, learn faster, serve deeper, solve better. Every law that follows in this book rests on this foundation, because no matter how much you save, how wisely you invest, or how well you budget, if you are not creating value, the source dries up. Stop chasing money. Start becoming someone money chases. That is the law of value first. If what you just heard sparked something in you, do not stop here. Take the next step toward financial transformation. Click the link in the description below to get your copy of the 30 Laws of Money on Amazon right now. Do not just watch others build wealth, join them. Your future is waiting.